What if I told you that one of America's most celebrated modern artists has never seen a single one of her paintings, not even her own? I'm talking about masterpieces that have sold for millions of dollars, created by a woman who lives in a world of complete darkness. This is the incredible true story of Emma Rodriguez, a woman who lost her sight in a tragic accident that should have ended her life, but instead awakened a power within her that would change the art world forever. This is the story of how a blind woman used texture, emotion, and pure, raw instinct to create art that has inspired a global movement. It all started on August 14, 2009. Emma Rodriguez was just 23 years old, driving home from her job at a marketing firm in Denver. It was a day like any other, until a semi-truck blew through a red light. The impact was catastrophic. For 3 long months, Emma lay in a coma. She endured 17 different surgeries. The doctors, through sheer skill and maybe a little bit of miracle, saved her life, but they couldn't save her vision. When Emma finally woke up, her world had gone black, permanently. At 23, the life she had known, the future she had planned, was over. The first 6 months were a descent into an abyss. A crushing depression consumed her. Every simple thing was now a mountain to climb. She couldn't work. She couldn't drive. The faces of her loved ones, even her own mother, began to fade from her memory like old photographs left out in the sun. Before the accident, Emma had been a casual painter. Just a hobby. Something she did on Sunday afternoons with watercolors. But now? What was the point of holding a brush if you couldn't see the canvas? The very thought felt like a cruel joke. Her therapist, trying to find a way to reconnect Emma with her own body, suggested art therapy. "It'll help with your motor skills," she said gently. Emma just laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. "I'm blind. How am I supposed to paint?" The therapist's reply was simple. Just 2 words that would ignite a revolution. Feel it. That simple suggestion changed everything. In her first therapy session, they placed a fresh canvas in front of her. They gave her brushes and jars of acrylic paint. There were no instructions on color theory or composition. No sight was required, just touch. Hesitantly, Emma dipped her fingers into the paint. It was cold, thick. She could feel the texture, the substance of it. She began to smear it across the canvas with no plan, no vision, and absolutely no expectation. And in that moment, something unlocked inside her. For the first time since the accident, for the first time in that long, dark half-year, Emma felt alive. She wasn't alive despite her blindness. She was feeling alive through it. This was the beginning, but when an art gallery owner saw her condition, she uttered 3 words that could have ended Emma's dream before it even began. What happened next is almost unbelievable. After that first session, Emma started painting every single day. Her garage became her studio. She was relentless, obsessive even. She began developing a technique that nobody in the art world had ever seen before. She would mix her paints in different containers, but instead of memorizing colors, she memorized their textures. A thick, gritty paint for the foreground. A thin, smooth wash for the background. She worked on raised canvases with tactile grids she built herself, allowing her to map out her compositions by touch. She trained her fingertips to become her eyes, learning to see through the landscape of the canvas. But here's what made Emma's art truly revolutionary. It was pure, unadulterated emotion. Because she couldn't rely on visual aesthetics, on pretty colors or pleasing shapes, Emma painted feelings. The jagged, chaotic texture of grief, the vibrant, explosive burst of joy, the thick, suffocating layers of rage, the gentle, flowing strokes of love. Every single mark on the canvas was a raw, unfiltered emotion transferred directly from her soul to her fingertips. Her art wasn't about what you see, it was about what you feel. One day, her sister, half joking, snapped a picture of one of Emma's chaotic, beautiful canvases and posted it on Instagram. The caption read, "My blind sister paints better than you." The post exploded. It went viral. 500,000 likes. Thousands of comments poured in from all over the world, from people stunned by the power of the image. That post found its way to a gallery owner in New York City named Patricia Mendez. Patricia saw something in that photo that went beyond the gimmick. She saw genius. She tracked down Emma's number and called her immediately. "I'm Patricia Mendez," she said. "I saw your painting online. I want to feature your work in my gallery." Emma's heart pounded in her chest. This was the moment. She had to be honest. You know I'm blind, right?" she asked, her voice trembling. There was a pause on the other end of the line. Then Patricia said 3 words that changed Emma's life forever. "I don't care." Emma's first exhibition was titled Visions Without Sight. The New York art scene was buzzing, but also deeply skeptical. Critics whispered that it was just a gimmick, a publicity stunt. "How can it be art if she can't even see what she's creating?" one wrote dismissively. The pressure was immense. The opening night arrived. 200 people packed into the gallery, serious art collectors, influential critics, and journalists, all eager to see the work of the blind painter. Emma stood nervously to the side, her white cane in her hand, as these strangers examined the pieces born from her darkness. The moment she touched one of her canvases to explain her process, something extraordinary happened that even doctors couldn't explain. But then, something truly unexpected occurred. A famous, notoriously harsh art critic named James Whitfield stood in front of Emma's centerpiece. It was a massive, turbulent abstract painting she had titled The Day the Light Died. He just stood there, motionless, for 15 minutes, staring at the canvas. And then, people noticed he was crying. Tears were streaming down his face. He walked over to Emma, his voice a hoarse whisper. "How did you know?" he asked. "Know what?" Emma replied, confused. "This painting," he said, his voice cracking. "It's exactly how grief feels. The colors I imagine, the texture, the chaos. You've captured something that most artists spend their entire lives trying to express, and you did it without your eyes." That night, The Day the Light Died sold for $100,000. From that moment on, Emma Rodriguez wasn't a gimmick. She was an artist. Today, Emma's paintings hang in prestigious galleries all across America. Her collected works have sold for over $2 million. But what's more important than the money is the movement she started. Emma founded the Art Beyond Sight Foundation, a non-profit that teaches art to people with disabilities, giving them the same tools to unlock their own inner worlds. She has proven to the world that a limitation is often just a perspective waiting to be shifted. In a recent interview, Emma said something that has stayed with me ever since. She said, "Losing my sight was the worst thing that ever happened to me, but it forced me to see in ways I never had before. I don't see with my eyes anymore. I see with my soul." Emma's story teaches us something incredibly powerful. Your limitations do not define your possibilities. What you have lost does not determine what you can create. Maybe you feel like you've lost something too, a job, a relationship, your health, or just your confidence. But Emma's message is crystal clear. There is always another way to see. There is another way to create. There is another way to live. The only question is, are you willing to feel for it in the dark? If this story moved you, please hit that subscribe button to join us for more willpower stories. Share this video with someone you know who might be fighting their own battle in the darkness. And always remember, sometimes you have to lose your sight to truly gain your vision. Thank you for watching.